All right. All right. Thank you for indulging that little bit of fun there. Appreciate it. Thanks for the effects, Chris. Welcome, everybody, to Educators in VR in Engage. I've got a bit of a workshop for you today. Before we start with the actual workshop, just going to say a couple of words about myself and about Educators in VR, what we're about and what we're doing, and then we'll get straight to it. So Educators in VR started about 18 months ago with myself and Laurel van Vossen. And we just kind of started out once a month putting on an event for anybody interested to actually meet in VR, as opposed to meeting on Facebook or on Twitter or something like that. Quickly grew to weekly events, even 2 or 3 events a week now. And in February, some of you might have been there, we had the 2020 Educators in VR International Summit, which was a real happening. We were here and engaged with Chris and everybody, had some really good fun then. And yeah, things have developed very, very rapidly, not just for us, but for the whole industry, I feel. Chris is always, every other day, sending me some big news, and Sue Glasgow's sending me that, and Dave's got news. Everybody's doing amazing stuff at the moment, almost accelerated by the fact that we're all in lockdown and can't go to the park or the beach. We have more time to spend in VR. So Educators in VR puts on virtual events. We develop custom training courses and packages, and we develop resources to share far and wide. We're a membership organization, and very soon the membership will be live and you'll be able to join. We'll be putting on free events as always, but also starting to bring paid events and discounts for members and these kind of things. So keep your eyes out for that. Thanks for coming, guys. Find a seat. And yeah, we have a very, very active Discord community. If you don't know Discord, I'll show the link later. It's kind of like Facebook for people who don't like Facebook and want channels and backends to be able to communicate. And we have thousands of resources around the topic of education and training, easily searchable there, and lots of great members who, you know, they're getting up to all kinds of projects. It's hard to even keep track of because people just join and get off, start up their own projects all by themselves, which is kind of what we set out to do, bring the community together and see what good stuff comes out of it. So that's about Educators in VR. A couple of words about me. I'm Daniel de Bosque Bryant. I am British. I live in Wales. I grew up in Germany. I've been teaching English for many years, and I've been working at Coleg Menai, a large college here in North Wales, for about 15 years. And over the last 2 years, I've been developing a immersive learning lab for the college, starting small scale, and now I've been given a bigger budget, and the principal is very keen to develop a bit of a center of excellence in the North Wales. So I feel very, very fortunate. I have Educators in VR, which is all kinds of busy and creative and exciting, and then I've been given a budget to build an immersive VR lab. So I have the best job in the world right now. Let's kick off today. I'm just going to bring up my slides here, if I only load them quickly in my media. Sorry, I should have had that ready. Okay, there we go. And is that coming up? All right, there you go. Okay, so today is a bit of a workshop for convincing the skeptics. And a bit of the rationale behind why I've put this on. A lot of people here in the room probably already know what the benefits, or many of the benefits of VR are and can be, and the way the industry is going, especially in education. I sometimes describe it as a tsunami wave approaching the coast of education, and watching it is quite thrilling. But I had the experience when I approached my management. I had to think through, how am I going to convince them? I mean, I understand this. How am I going to convince fairly conservative management to buy into what I'm doing here? And as a tsunami wave, year or two, I've had conversations approaching like this with many of our members and many other people. And I have one colleague in particular. His name is Stephen Meek, and he's a great guy, but and partly he's a bit of a sparring partner. So I'll come with the greatest, next best idea, and he'll give me all the difficult questions, so it sharpens my arguments with him. And I thought it would be interesting to share my journey and also your journeys, because I imagine some of you have been in similar situations, or you've done your own research. Maybe you've had to convince your boss, or you've had to just be accountable for getting started in this area. So I wanted to have a bit of a workshop and a conversation, share some resources with you about how we can convince the skeptics. And I imagine Chris Madsen there would have a lot to say about this topic as well. All right, so I've started the session today here because this is kind of the known stage the stage we've become known for. But I actually want to jump into a different space right now, Chris. I hope you've got all set up there, and I'm going to take you into the training portal. Okay? So I'm going to load up another location. Hold on to your seats. We'll see you in the next location shortly. There we go. Where's the training portal? Okay, here we go. Load this location. See you there shortly. Okay. There you go. Okay, and I had to save my locations. Yes. FX, load. All right, guys. Here we are. Where am I? Ooh. Excellent. Okay. Yes, spread out a little bit. I hope this is going to work. Wonderful. This is busy in here. I like that. Cool.
I like the fire truck there, Daniel.
Yeah. A bit of inspiration for this workshop idea I have. All right, so I'm gonna, what was the other thing? All right, I'm gonna record again because it stops recording when you go to the other room. So everyone recording. Okay, all right, so here we are. I have a bit of a look around. I brought in some props. Hi, Mike. Instead of starting with a lecture and a presentation, what I want to do is start with a bit of a workshop idea. So before we do anything, I just want to talk you through how to create sticky notes. Let me show you, and then I'll talk you through it, and we're all going to create a sticky note. So on one of your controllers, you'll have the function of being tablet or menu. So click tablet or menu. And then at the top bar near the right-hand side, you'll see notes. If you click on notes, you will have functionality for notes. If you click create, you will have the ability to create a note. Now, you'll see title and content. If you click into content and then bring up the keyboard, bottom right, and let's just type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then instead of clicking Save Note, you create Sticky Note. Then you can choose a color, and I want you to stick with yellow. Create Sticky Note, and you have this thing, which I can probably turn around. There you go, and you can make it bigger and smaller. How's everybody doing with that? If you're in 2D, Chris, are people in 2D able to create sticky notes?
Yes, same thing. They just hit the escape key for the menu.
Okay. All right, so this is the end result I'm looking for. Let me talk you through it again. Click either tablet or menu. If you're on the Quest, it would be your right controller. You click menu. On the Rift or other things, you can click on your left controller tablet. Sue Glasgow, let me bring your microphone up there, Sue. Hang on. Where's Sue?
I got her. Here we go, thanks, Sue. Yeah. Go ahead. Right. Go ahead, Sue.
Our sticky notes, our IFX are disabled, so we can't actually create.
Chris, do I have to free that up for notes?
Is there anybody that can see the notes? Raise your hand, please.
Can you see the notes?
I can see the note.
When you see my note, but they can't create.
It tells you that the IFX is disabled.
Understood.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Let me see if I can alter that. Yeah, I'm wondering.
All right. Well, while we're waiting,
try that now. Is it say it can work now?
Okay. There you go. Lots of notes. Fantastic. Excellent.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Excellent.
Okay.
That's exactly brilliant. That came all in one go. Well done. Excellent. So if you click on it, you can rotate it. You can make it bigger and smaller. And as you create it, you can change the color.
So once you have
That's worked so
possession,
much better than I thought.
once you
Okay,
have
wonderful.
possession of the note, you can hold down your left trigger to rotate that XYZ axis.
Fantastic. All right, so just get used to that a little bit. You can kind of let it go by clicking your trigger. You can grab it and increase the size with your thumbstick. We got other IFX. All right, yeah, have a bit of a play for now, but when we get to the actual workshop, thank you, there you go. We'll leave the IFX to the side. Somewhere on the side is fine, the occasional IFX. So the reason I want you, okay, now do me a favor, and if you just kill the, somebody else has grabbed it, that's okay. You can actually also destroy the sticky notes, so go ahead and just figure out how to destroy. You have to click on it again, and there's a little bin icon, click on that, and then the icons, the sticky notes should disappear. Wonderful.
Excellent.
Okay, so is my slide, I have to bring my slides up in here, bringing up my media. My media, 1 second. Okay, there we go. That should come up behind me here. Lovely. Okay, and if I go there. All right, so this is the first activity, what I want you to do. We're talking about resistance. What are the common reasons that people resist using VR, either individuals or consumers or in education? And what I would like you to do is in groups, so you see these, so behind you there's a big gray space, and on the floor are kind of little wooden islands. Spread out a little bit, and in groups, you can discuss, and we'll give you 3 audio mic, Chris? 3 audio? All right, if you spread out, there's one behind the scene here as well. Okay, so there's one, excellent. Maybe we have 5-10 people per base, and there's one right behind here as well. Fantastic.
Here we go.
Come on over here as well, please. All right. Let's try and get 5, 6, 7 people. Some more people behind the screen over here, please.
And you
Lovely.
all have control over your own mics now.
Okay. Wonderful. There you go. Dee, do you want to go behind the elephant? There's another space there. Fantastic, Ricardo, when you're ready. Lovely. So what I'd like you to do is to just discuss experiences or reasons why people resist, and then with a keyword, bring up a note and write the note up. I'll show you how that works. So I'm bringing up media. Where's notes? Okay, so what's one good reason why people resist? What's one good reason why people resist?
Hello, can you hear me?
Maybe they've had a bad experience.
Okay, all right. So it could be bad experience, or let's put that one up there. I'm going to put the time one. I'm just going to kind of pin it to the wall here.
Cardboard.
Can you see that up there?
Yep.
I've pinned that one there. So, discuss reasons and pin them up against the wall, if you will. Some other reasons here. We've had a bad experience was one as well.
Hardware.
Hardware.
Yes, they haven't had a Google Cardboard.
All right, Wolf.
Bad hair day.
Bad hair day. Good one. Put that up. Okay. There's space over here if you want to spread out, Wolf. If you want to spread out over here.
Fear.
There's some more space over here. Bad hair day. That's excellent. And make
Fear.
the notes nice and big as well, please. That's great. Excellent. Let me put on. That's right, Raxel. Exactly. So, Alexander, if you have an idea of why people resist, maybe you resist. The skeptics, what do they say?
The most famous thing, the bad hair day, you already mentioned.
Okay. So, can you make a note for that and put it up on the wall?
Sure.
Bad hair day. That's a good one. Okay, I'll add another note here as well. So another one can be, just looking here, can be,
Scaling.
Motion
Let's say-
sickness. Nice.
I like that. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay.
We got one over here. Cost. Deep
Yeah.
cost.
Lovely. Cost is good. Can put one of hygiene over here.
Oh, this group's got a bunch of them going up over here.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, and nice
These
and big.
sticky
Try and
notes are
make the
so
notes nice and
cool.
big.
How'd
Yeah.
you make them big again? Sorry.
As you trigger them, you push your thumbstick to the left, to the right, increases, and left decreases. That's
What
great,
about on the
guys.
keyboard?
It's
Great stuff, guys.
I believe it's the holding the right mouse button down and the scroll wheel on the mouse if you're on a
You can
keyboard.
hear me. Thanks, Chris.
On a Rift. Hang on.
How's it
On
going?
a Rift,
Excellent.
it's grab possession and then your right mouse, your right stick, left
Awesome.
and
Oh,
right. Space.
This is so cool.
Space
This is
here.
so cool. Sorry.
We
I
got
love that sound.
technophobes.
Technophobes, great stuff. Oh, loads of lists. Steve, is there
This
a
is
way of making a
good.
snapshot of everything to keep?
Oh yes, yeah.
You
Once
can- yeah,
we
at
get
the
them
end.
up there, let's make a snapshot of the whole thing.
Perfect.
Mhm.
And this many notes shouldn't interfere with performance, right? Because it's low
at-
poly.
Yeah, this group's got some
Great
crazy stuff over here. Social downgrade.
Unknown benefits.
so cool.
Yeah, social downgrade. Love that. Excellent. How's it coming, guys? Okay, I give you guys another 4 or 5 minutes for this. So we got hygiene.
Some of my students don't even have internet. That's a good one.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's a good
uh-huh.
one. Friction is good.
Ooh,
I like that.
There's another fear-based
Lack of
one.
knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's one. Unknown benefits. We just don't even know what the benefits are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's it going, Steve?
Self-conscious.
Hygiene. That's a definitely one at this time.
Yeah.
Oh, hygiene, definitely.
Hmm. These are great.
And Chris, these little sticky notes add so
That's
much
great.
value.
Internet
Oh,
connectivity.
good. I'm glad to hear that.
That's it. D, if you point at it and hold it, you should just be able to hold it like that. And that's it. And then you can, if you push your thumbstick forward, it actually goes away. That's bigger. And if you push the thumbstick forward, it happens.
Man, I got to get pictures of all
Okay.
the boards.
Okay. All right, cool. Great stuff, David.
Stop PowerPoint or
What's
PDF?
another one? Lack of knowledge, comfort, friction,
That's
cost.
what my colleagues are.
Great stuff, guys. Another 3 minutes. We got loads and loads of ideas here. This is great.
I love that these guys
Oh,
are
it is
becoming
indeed.
pro at the sticky notes. This is awesome.
Yeah. Well, I figured while we were here, they could also learn how to actually use aspects of Engage because it's such a cool function, right?
Ooh, loop input.
All right, Tom.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Google Cardboard.
Hey, there's great ideas here. Okay. If all tech still rules with many, very true. New technology. Okay, we've got a lot of ideas here. All right. So what I want to ask you to do quickly now, and you can add more notes as you go if you want, but let's move on to the next small stage. So whichever wall you've been working on, go clockwise to the next wall and have a look at the notes they have there. So see if any of the ideas are similar, if there's any new ideas there, right? So just walk clockwise to the next wall and have a look at the sticky notes there. And if you're inspired by something you see there and you want to add one of the sticky notes, do that. Yeah, if you think, oh yeah, that makes me think of another reason, go and add another sticky note there. Wonderful. And when you're ready to move to the next wall, keep going clockwise until you come back around to your own one. Just go and have a look at all the different walls. Man, time flies, man. We're 20 past already. We only just started. It's great. One device, 30 students. Absolutely true. Google Cardboard, bad experience. Destructive Students Expensive Kit. I thought I made a long list myself, but this is amazing. The number of
pictures on Twitter, Dan.
yeah, do that. Cool. Thank you. Sweet. Very cool. Okay. All right. Do you want to come and congregate around the actual the presentation screen for me for a minute? Just for 2 minutes, and we go on to the next exercise. This has been even more successful than I was hoping. Thank you so much, guys. And like I was explaining, I figured we would do something interactive, which would allow you also to get to grips with one of the cool functionalities of this platform. So what I want to do now is, if you look at the individual walls, you'll see there's a kind of a cross in the middle. And that is, I've created a bit of a grid there. So if you think that, think of it as like a graph, right? With 4 quadrants. And so the upper half, let me explain by doing it actually. I'll go to the one over here. So I'm going to pick up cost here. Okay? I see cost. Do you think this is a frequent, like a common resistance point, or a rare resistance point? What would you say? Common or rare?
Very, very common.
Very common. Okay, so I'm going to put it up at the top, right? Because it's common. I could, if it were rare, I would put it down here at the bottom. But we think this is common, so I'm going to actually leave it at the top there. And now I could put it on this side, or I could put it on this side. If it's over here, it's actually a very valid and important point. And if we think it belongs over here, it's not such a crucial point. So do you think cost is a very important point, or kind of right? So that puts it in this quadrant.
Definitely.
Right. So the cost thing, we think it's very common, and it's actually very valid and important point. So what I want you to do now, go back to the walls you were on originally, and together figure out where you want to put your sticky notes. Do you want to put it top right, top left quadrant, top right quadrant, bottom left, bottom right? And if you need, if you want to have some, I think I can bring the slides up actually with the instructions on it. Right, organize the sticky notes. Horizontal is common, so if you go up and down is common, and vertical is strong or weak argument. All right, so I'm going to organize them. What about healthy skepticism? Is that common?
Again?
What do you think? Common? Kind of in the middle, maybe. Healthy skepticism. I haven't heard that so much, but yeah, maybe. Is it valid? I would say definitely valid.
Alexander?
So is it just
Okay.
I, Christina?
Yeah?
Oh, we have more people here.
So you can grab those sticky notes again and place them where you think they should belong.
So I think we're
That's
supposed to be
great.
talking about this. I
And
was
go
just
look
putting
over
it on
here.
the board.
And maybe start on the wall where you started off.
Love it. Love it.
All right, Chris. It's fun.
It is.
Yeah,
Hey, Tim.
great stuff. Motion sickness. Okay, very common. Kind of goes with bad experience. Common, right? Yeah, and it's
I
important. We have to
trouble
fix
moving
that.
these things around.
Yeah, great stuff. All right. All right, lack of technology knowledge. So we think it's
So,
common,
I guess we'll put
but it's
cost
not that
where-
important. That's
where
interesting.
they said.
So you're saying that maybe the technology is more accessible than people have the impression. Friction,
I
okay.
think fear is common, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, the perception that it's gaming.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Interesting.
that's quite so valid.
Okay. Another couple of minutes there, guys.
And I think also they think VR's for gaming is true, but it's not valid.
This gives me so many ideas. I love it, Daniel.
Exactly, Dave. This one's made for you, man.
This is group input at its best.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Hive mind.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Accent.
All right.
Oh, I'm always like,
Okay, guys.
Why is so that can
Uh,
I don't know.
that's wonderful.
I don't know. I don't
Please.
know
Daniel?
where it goes.
Yes.
so psyched.
when you have your recording on like that, I don't think people can hear each other in their small groups.
Meaning
I
they
think
don't
with the
have
spatial
knowledge, they
audio,
don't
it's
know
making it tough for people to talk to each other.
about it.
Is that right? Is that right, Chris?
Let's see. I haven't noticed that. You should be able to hear, the closer you are to somebody, you should be able to hear them more.
Fred and AE, can you
Yeah,
hear me? I can hear you,
the
Paul.
megaphone just kind of takes over.
Paul,
So
you can
just
hear me
just
okay?
a point.
Yeah,
You want to
okay.
check with the audience?
Am I on?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So which,
It sounded like
sticky
things were
note did
going
you make?
okay
It's
over
hard to
there.
talk.
I've got Daniel on
I put up
loudspeaker.
cost
Everybody else.
and
I'll put
If you get
myself
close
on
to there, you'll
spatial,
hear them.
and then it's not so loud for now.
Since
Now
we
I'm
have
still
so
talking,
sound
Tony.
rate,
I told
that's
Alvin
very-
Q.
It's not so loud now.
Similar.
Is that
downgrade?
is that
Yeah,
better?
that's way better when we're
It was blasting over the top of everybody. Sorry about that.
Kinda. No
Yeah,
worries.
all
It's all
right.
good.
Okay, we're learning. Thanks.
Hey, Mata.
Doesn't a teacher have to be kind of an expert to be able to do this in the first place?
You're muted.
That's interesting.
Okay.
Might have a high social class.
All right. Well done, guys. I can see the board at the back here. Do you want to come round again?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
Coming
for
back.
everybody, not just the
Hi,
instructors.
Chris.
Come together a little bit again. Thank you very much for that.
Hi, Christian.
Right now.
How you doing?
Hi.
Just taking the picture.
All right.
The sound's better now.
So as we're coming together, Tony, I'm going to put my kind of megaphone on if you like, and then I'll switch it on again later. Thank you very much for that. Looking around, some people have very clearly distinguished between their different quadrants, which is fine. The one behind us here, everything is kind of frequent, except the little blue one on there. Fantastic. So thank you very much for that part. The next thing I want to do now is, because that's what we're here for, we were looking at how many different pain points or resistances people bring up. We want to, together in the hive mind, try and generate like counter arguments and comebacks. Okay, I have a list of comebacks. We'll come back to them later after this activity. But for now, here's the activity 2, counter arguments. So instructions are, go around and add as many counter argument notes as possible. So I'm going to show you again. Let's say social downgrade is a very valid point over here. All right. But really at the moment, you could argue that it's a social upgrade. When you have social distancing in a situation like this, VR for me is definitely a social upgrade. So I'm going to add a different color note. I'm going to bring up notes. I'm going to change my color to, let's say, pink. After and then I'm going to say, hang on, it's going to, okay, Corona upgrade. Okay, so just bring that there. Sticky note, pink. Okay, so I'm going to try and attach it to it a little bit, and that's my counter argument against that. Against the skeptical resistance point. Do you understand what I mean with the exercise? You could choose any one you want. You can work on your board. You can walk to any board you like. And pick one. If you have a counter argument, choose a different color note, and then add it to the board. There you go. Excellent. I think everybody's muted again. Shall we give them? We'll give them.
Yep. There we go. We're good.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you can have a discussion about this as well together if you want. I know Tim's got some good counterpoints, I'm sure. All right, Abby. Take your time. Have a chat together if you like. Wonderful. How are we getting on here? I'm going to add one new to the technology. I would say not much beyond a mobile phone in terms of intuition. So let's see. There we go. Okay. I love the silence. Everybody's concentrating.
Intense.
There you go. That's great. How's it going, Marty? You getting the hang of the notes? Yeah, good stuff. All right, I'll leave it to it. All right, D. Even Zoom requires bandwidth. So was that your counterpoint? You're muted at the moment.
Sorry that I didn't put that note there. That was already there.
Okay, I'm gonna put that as a. Wonder if you could. Hey, Chris.
Yo.
It would be cool, just feature request. I have at least one feature request per event here. If you could retrospectively change the color of the notes.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool.
That would be cool. All right.
Yes.
Okay, so hygiene. I'm going to add one on the hygiene. Let me see. So. Box, sticky note, create. There you go, good stuff. Okay. Actually, Chris, can we make this persistent?
Once we get you a proper account, Daniel, we'll be able to do that.
Right, understood, no problem. Okay.
I'll take an IFX of this, and then when we do go persistent, we'll bring it in.
Perfect. This is coming on really well. Technology getting better. Love it. You guys are doing so well. I'm really impressed. Thank you.
I know. I'm really impressed with how everyone's managing their audio too.
Yeah, audio and the notes and brilliant. And so much content. Like I actually had another proposal for my college where we would create a think tank out of the students and like have a weekly think tank. So any challenges, problems the college has, you put it to the think tank and they just generate ideas. You know what I mean? And you can pool ideas, hive mind, anything, finance, revenue, whatever you want. It got shot down, but I'm gonna bring it back, I think.
Well, I like too that there's a certain level of anonymity too in putting up your thoughts.
Yeah, true. Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, cool. Fantastic. Another 2 minutes, guys. We could go on all day, but I want to move on a little bit. I've got one or two other things. This is brilliant. Effort, healthy skepticism. I figured that doing it like, sorry, I'm bringing up my audio here.
I made one from cost and unknown as well, and unknown.
Brilliant.
All right, it's difficult to hear you. Like something is the sound is off, but I got cost.
I had cost and unknown.
Sorry. I'm gonna turn the 3D voice back on here.
Nice to have like the voice. Nice to have like the voice just like surrounded around you when I'm like talking straight at you. It's not the feeling that I'm getting right now.
Okay, last sticky notes, guys. Last sticky notes.
It's he's on the background more. He's louder.
Yeah, Daniel's on megaphone. I'm on megaphone. I've turned 3D sound back on, so you should only be able to hear the people closest to you the loudest.
Great.
There's not a lot of emotion.
Okay, last sticky notes, and then take a bit of time again, walk around clockwise, and have a look at what counter arguments people have put up. Go and have a look at what the other groups or teams or walls have generated in terms of comebacks. And
feel free to take pictures as well. If you
great idea.
New,
Great idea.
Camera icon on the right-hand side.
Yeah, David, that's probably the quickest way to capture this content.
You'll be able to find your photos in Documents, Engage Photos.
Fred? Yeah? Anybody? Let's stand like this.
Okay. Yeah, feel free to take pictures.
Okay, cool.
In about 3 minutes, we're going to leave this space, so do take the pictures now if you want access to them.
Is one able to move the camera around once it's chosen?
If you have a tablet, yes. We're going to be adding the tablet for Quest users in the future. Right now, unfortunately, it's a stationary for Quests.
Gotcha.
All right.
Ready? Get you into cam. You look the same way I'm looking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Up your finger.
When you're ready.
Okay, take a picture. Boom. Save.
Let's take a snapshot here,
Got
Daniel.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to take a snapshot quickly as well. Thank you for that. Medium. Is that IFX? Yeah.
Yep.
Save.
Cool.
Okay. Submit. Great. Okay, well done, everybody. Am I on? Okay, good. Everyone can hear me?
Yep.
Wonderful. So thank you so much for joining in this interaction. I really wanted to try to, which is why I played that at the beginning, a little more action, a little less conversation, a little more action, please, because I figured we're here in VR, and rather than just doing a lecture and a presentation, I wanted to get you involved, because learning goes deeper when you're involved like that. We're going to go back to the moon base, Chris. Is that cool? Is there any reason or anything we would want to do before we go back to the moon base? Or are we good to jump? Yeah? All right. I'm going to take us back to the moon base then.
Yep, go ahead, Daniel.
All right. See you there shortly, guys. I have to save recording, stop, save. Okay, 1 second. I always have to save the recordings. Yeah, and it's taken a little while. That's okay, because it's fairly long while. We'll get there. Okay, so locations, Moonbase, see you there shortly. Lovely.
Oh.
Okay, lovely. Okay, wonderful. All right. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna drop that. There we go. All right. Oh, are you there?
I got it.
Was that you? No,
I'm good.
You. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna jump down here. Lovely. Actually, I have to... There we go. All right. Is everyone here? How would we know if everyone's here, Chris?
Well, we wouldn't.
Okay, but
we got
but there's
1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 24 people here.
okay, but there's no real reason why they shouldn't, and if they need to, they can join back in through the lobby, right? Okay.
Yes.
We got a couple of people outside. I was saying breadcrumbs right up to the airlock because people keep walking around the base. Cool. All right. So I'm feeling a bit comfortable here. Sat down. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in on that interactive session there. But I want to progress a little bit and just share a couple of resources. So I don't just want to kind of pick your brains. I want to share a little bit and some resources as well that might add to your arsenal of comebacks and arguments why to convince the skeptics. And as we do this, usually I also invite people up to join me up here if they have contributions to make. So if you have something to add, I might, raise your hand. It should be interactive as well, so it's not just one way. Going to start right off with one resource here, and this is from our friend Steve Bambury of Virtuality Teach and Digital Inception. Turns out a year ago he shared this blog post very generously with us, and he did a whole lot of great research into the 5 key barriers to VR adoption in schools and education. Some really, really great resources in there. Thank you, Steve. I asked him today if it'd be okay to share it, and he said no problem. And he's kind of categorized five main reasons. We came up with all kinds of reasons, but if we had had the time to categorize them, I want to see how closely our arguments would fit into Steve's categories here. So his five key barriers are, there's 4. Lack of understanding, cost and return of investment, rate of change, health and safety. I think a lot of our points that we generated there in the training hub kind of would come under this category, but there's some I think also fall outside of that. But please take the time to find his article and look at the details on the research. I didn't want to bring all the research and go through that in here. I wanted to have more of a chat about that. All right, anybody think of another big key barrier? In fact, I'm just going to look on his website what the 5th one is here. Just bear with me for a minute. Okay, health and safety, and the last one, benefits to learning. So that the 5th one from Steve is what are the benefits to learning, the unclear benefits to learning. So anybody want to contribute another major category of reasons? We have here lack of understanding, cost and return of investment, rate of change, health and safety, or benefits of learning. Maybe those 5 kind of cover the reasons for the most part. I'll share with you another resource in that case. I should bring this here, which is a resource that you can use to back up your claims or your arguments or your motivation. I signed up to academia.edu. If you have an educational email, you can get a free login with limited access to the research there. And by now, I've created an email alert for virtual reality, immersive technologies, augmented reality, and every day I have a folder in my emails, and every day 3 or 4 research articles pop in there related to this industry. And it's a brilliant way of just automating, finding research. Highly recommend that. www.academia.edu, and you can see that there are 442,000 papers related to virtual reality or that mention virtual reality. But in my case, I have access, it's a bit small, but 5,400. So it must be something to do with a license, some kind of category there. So highly recommended resource for finding research to back up your project. Another one, this was shared by Jamie Billingham on Twitter, and this is called Roger's Adoption Curve, and it made me smile. because to me what this means is it's almost inevitable that sooner or later this technology is going to win the hearts and minds of our managers. To me, that curve indicates that, as would be expected on the left-hand side, the innovators who actually build virtual reality, they're first to get it. They have the vision. And then you have some early adopters. Thank you. Thank you very much for making that bigger. Right, you have the visionaries who are quick to get in. I wouldn't really count myself to that. I would maybe count myself in the third group, the early majority maybe. Early adopter, early majority, maybe like that. And then you have the late majority and the laggards on the right there. But this, you could observe this happening probably with mobile phones, probably with the internet and computers. You would have seen a very similar cycle. And if we look back to mobile phones now, everybody has one. Everybody has a computer. A lot of people have a tablet. We've been through that cycle. And the laggards, there's very few people now who don't have mobile phones. So to me, it's almost inevitable that this will come as devices get cheaper, more accessible, less clunky and so on. Content gets better, internet gets faster. So this for me is good news. Okay, moving on. There's another great resource that you can find some excellent white papers on, and that's the VR-ARA Association. If you don't know them, I think they're the world's biggest association of VR and AR companies, and they have an education board or education committee, and they bring out great content exactly for making the case. Return of investment here is one article I highlighted. And there's a number of other really valuable resources and articles to find there. Also articles on Forbes here, just a quick search. I like this little bite here. According to a report from the Capgemini Research Institute, 82% of companies currently implementing XR say the benefits are either meeting or exceeding their expectations. This is laying a positive foundation for the widespread business adoption of XR. With articles like this in Forbes, you have a lot of good ammunition when it's time to approach your management or just bring counter arguments to skeptics. Why would I want to do this? Well, this is going to become mainstream, and the figures speak to themselves, for themselves. And I mean, 82% are meeting or exceeding their expectations. One of those things that I've looked into is actually, so one of the big, important and frequent resistances is the cost. You go to your manager, say, give me some money. Why would I give you the money? And the counter argument actually can be, this will save you money. If you think of the affordances of VR and what you can do VR, just alone virtual tours, virtual trips, or studying mechanics, or decommissioning a nuclear power plant, you can simulate that and get very good results at a fraction of the cost. And the cost you save on these simulations and the results you get, you can invest in the hardware. And it actually, Alvin Wangrelen was here for our summit, and he made exactly that point, that you can, if you present your arguments well, you can very convincingly argue the case for that an investment in VR can deliver savings as opposed to being a waste of money. You can save money, and I'll make another point along that line later on as well. Okay. Something I'd like to share with you. This is a shameless plug. This is our Discord server. If you don't know Discord, it's like Facebook for people who don't like Facebook or don't do Facebook. And it also has a number of other features. This is a very small slide, sorry about that. But we have 1,000+ members with a high ratio of active members. Some of you I know are members already, David and Sue and Tim and so on. And here we have, on the left there, you can see they're called channels, and we have categorized our links into different channels. We have channels for research, for apps, for projects, for teams, and so on. So not only can you join our community there, but there are now thousands and thousands of resources and articles and links that that you can search through. It's very searchable as well. Top right-hand side, you can search. And there you can find everything you need to make out your case with your boss or your even with your colleagues. Maybe you're approaching your colleagues and they're resisting, and you can find all the information you might ever dream of needing there. Okay, I'm aware we're coming to the end of time, so this is a fantastic recent development. You might have seen. You might have seen these two graphics on LinkedIn or Twitter recently. The one on the left is from Torsten Feld with Immersive Learning News, and the two graphics are very similar. Basically, what they've done is categorized all of the currently available multi-user or collaborative or social VR platforms, and one on the left is associated with XR collaboration, Julie Smithson and Alan Smithson there. This is going to be an interactive tool where you can plug in, this is what I need, and it'll spit out the 3 or 4 different tools that are best suited for your need. So the point that this is making, one of the resistances with computers was, well, what do I need it for? And when Excel and databases came along, suddenly businesses had a killer app. I can compute a lot of data really quickly, reliably, and spit it out in a very searchable way. So, databases were a killer app for computers in the early days. When mobile phones, and then the internet, why do I want the internet? Well, when we had the email, when you got your first email, that was the killer app for the internet. And for mobile phones, smartphones, again, when mobile phones became smartphones and you could suddenly do Facebook and Twitter and social media on your smartphone, that became the killer app. And if there's any killer app for VR that I believe is a killer app, it's people and collaboration. And platforms like Engage and Altspace and all of these things here, I think will turn out to be one of the killer apps, if not the killer app. So the collaboration we can do here just kicks ass over Zoom and Hangouts. There's just no competition. Damn, I forgot my key point. Right at the beginning of the session, I wanted to make a key point. I have to come back to that in a minute. But I'm just going to go on to the next slide. There we go. Oh, was that the last one? Okay. Well, okay, yeah, we'll go through that one and then I'll come back to my initial point. Another really strong argument, you can use when you're trying to convince people, especially, and this is the card I played with my college, is that I used my own money in the beginning and my own time to develop some resources, and I managed to get my headset on my principal's head really early on. And I made out the case to him that if we invest a little bit of money now and develop the skills and the experience and the understanding and the resources, we have a window of opportunity to not only benefit in terms of learning and make savings of money, we can actually develop specialities. We can become a center of excellence. We can develop courses, we can offer services, we can build products. And this really played to the fear of missing out. When my principal heard that, what you mean we can make money with this? We can offer professional services? We can expand our reach? And I convincingly explained to him how, yes, we can. He was all in. Suddenly he had I had his attention, and we were having meetings and talks. And that's really what clinched the deal for me, was explaining that, if you invest in a couple of key staff and some equipment to develop them with the skills, then you can, because we're such early days. It's only the next 5-10 years that this is really going to take off. If you don't get involved now, you're going to miss the boat. And now's the time you can still kind of be there at the front wave and be a player. That was my argument, and it went down really well. I think that brings us, to the last one. So we'll go there in a minute. I'm going to give you, free your microphones up in just a moment. But the point I wanted to make right at the beginning is, how do you convince a skeptic? My point was, actually, it can be very, very easy. In many cases, it can be very, very easy to convince a skeptic. And I think Chris will agree with this. What you do is you get a head and you put a headset on it and you give them a really, really good experience. Maybe something as simple as First Steps, which is, comes loaded on the Oculus Quest and the Oculus Rift. Oh, just a second. I've got some background noise here. I'm gonna just, oh, sorry. There you go. Hey, Ziggy, guys. Sorry, do you mind closing the door for me? Thank you. Right, the point I wanted to make was, yeah, you get a head, put a headset on it, and make sure they have a really, really good, convincing experience first off. Then the rest will follow. One of the resistances we had in our workshop earlier was they had a bad experience. A bad experience can put you off for a long time, but at the same time, a good experience can really get you hooked. That's what happened to me, and I imagine, hands up if you had your first experience was with VR was good, and you just kept coming back for more. There you go. There's quite a number of people in here. Exactly. I remember exactly. It's like that. Where were you with 9/11? Where were you when you first tasted VR? I know exactly what it was and exactly where I was when I tasted VR the first time. Changed my life. So if you get the chance to put a headset on somebody and give them a really good experience, it saves a lot of conversation. And that was also why we had that theme song at the beginning, a little less conversation, a little more action, please. Just get to it. Skip the talk and try and give them a really good VR experience to go. Okay, we got questions and discussions. I would like to invite any contributions, any thoughts from today, any questions from today. So if you have a question, put your hand up, or you want to add something, or a thought, or a comment, anything you like, put your hand up. Chris will switch your microphone free. Maybe you can jump up and we have a chat or something like that. And then about 5 or 10 minutes of this, and then we have a bit of a send-off for the end. What did you think of that, Sue? Was that? Oh, actually, I'm gonna bring up David here because I want to hear what you made of this conversation, David. I know you had some developments recently. Where are you, David? So
Can you hear me?
David. Yeah, good.
Yeah. We're a 16 campus organization here in the UAE, and we have our own central services group that recently approached me with some questions. They're looking into it, and they're some serious trials that they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
But in terms of obstacles and things that we have here, it's not just institutional constraints, but cultural constraints. For example, I teach at women's colleges. So some of you might be teaching in countries where it's not just institutional issues, but cultural issues that you need to think about trying to win over possible stakeholders. So that's another thing I didn't see mentioned.
That's a very good point. Thank you very much for that, David. And actually, on that note, in AltSpace this week, we had the XR Access team join us. And one of the points that was raised as a question there's a woman who teaches Arabic women. And one of the resistances culturally was that the avatars couldn't have burqas or face veils. And the women, even though it was VR, they were reluctant to do VR because they didn't have the face veils in VR, which in terms of access and equality and inclusion is something we need to fix. Thank you very much for that, David. Anybody else got something to add or a question to ask? Got a couple of minutes time here before we finish. Okay. No problem. All right. Well, oh, Alexander, yes. We can get your microphone there. See if Chris beats me to it. I got there first, Chris. Oh, yeah, Alexander. Go on.
I muted myself. Hello. We had once somebody from BBC, the broadcasting company,
yes,
in our meetups that described like 10 steps until for VR usage. Like, how about the friction? We had an argument about the friction, and it was very well. Let's say each step you have to overcome with friction. And this was very insightful. Okay, there's so many things that can go wrong. that made it very clear, and I think she published it somewhere on the BBC websites, but I don't know.
Fantastic.
Right now. But
Yeah,
maybe
Alexander, if you do
it.
find it, I will look for it. But if anybody finds it, could you share it either on Twitter at EducatorsVR or at Daniel D. Bryant? I'd love to see that graphic. Thank you very much.
Well, I would like to share that on the Discord because that's,
yeah, please, on the Discord.
So that's easy.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much for that. And in fact, you know what? Somebody might have posted it there already as well. But thank you. I think Chris, you're raising your hand there at the back. Let me get you there. Okay, all good, Chris?
Hi there. Great. Thanks, Daniel. Another great event.
Thank you.
A couple of points. One being critical mass. It's really great to see all the people here, and there's obviously a critical mass, and that's what makes it a good experience. So I guess to me, one of the sort of barriers, or one of the ways to sort of break the barrier, is to try and get that critical mass locally within your college. So I think that's kind of half the battle. So if I could get sort of 10 people in with headsets in different locations, then, like you say, there's a proof of concept potentially that can be worked out with that critical mass, and then that critical mass will start to grow. That point, and then I guess the other point was just based on the sort of accessibility, also the hardware. So we do a lot of events, and we found obviously the hardware doesn't fit on people with big hair or with any sort of head wearings. So it's the hardware as well.
Very good point. Thank you very much, Chris. And actually, not only hardware, but also the accessibility. So for people with, ability challenges, maybe hard of hearing, hard of sight, or physical mobility issues, this is another reason. And with regards to the first point you made in terms of the critical mass, what I did and what I'm still doing is identifying individuals within my organization, my college, who are, I don't want to say less skeptical, but more keen to an open mind to try it. And I just keep planting seeds and giving them experiences. And I found one or two people who've become real assets and are going out and trying to evangelize on my behalf. So you can build kind of a fan base who will go, and if 5 people approach the principal and say, we should look into this, that's different than one person asking the principal. You know what I mean? Suddenly there's a conversation going on in the college. Okay, Monty Tom, you're raising your hand there, yes? Let me get your mic. Chris is just too fast for me. There, I got there. Okay, Marty?
You can hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, just following up on that point, at the college I'm at, I'm just about 180 miles down the road from you, by the way, in Reading, in Berkshire, in England.
Lovely.
We've got 4 or 5 students now who have their own VR headsets at home. I'm actually getting them involved in what we're doing in Engage and Roomy and places like that, and getting them as advocates in the college as well to explain to the principal how they, as students, can see the benefits. I think really helps. So it's not just the teachers saying it; it's the students saying it as well.
Excellent point, and that actually reminds me of another point. An associate of mine, Doug Hohulen from Nokia, he's actually researching the adoption rate. And he's comparing it to adoption rates of other technologies. So, for example, when did we have the first million or first billion radios? When did we have the first billion TVs? When did we have the first billion PCs? When did the first billion email addresses, and so on, smartphones, mobile phones, and headsets? And he's predicting that 2027, we will reach the point of 1 billion VR headsets. I hope he's right. But that's an excellent argument to make, is that at the moment, we're having to invest. But if you were proposing to use smartphones in a college right now, or a school or university, nobody would bat an eyelid because everybody's already got their own headsets. And it won't be too long before a lot of people have their own VR headsets, and colleges not only don't have to buy them, but they're going to have to engage with that technology because that's what people are using. So that's another very excellent point. Thank you very much, Marty. Okay. Any other points before we have a bit of a send-off? That's fine. We've Keith right at the back. Yeah, let's have one last one from Keith then. We get your microphone. 1 second. Here we go. You should be good. Go.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I thought this evening was really great. I've been working with Engage for a year now with one of your colleagues a while back.
Yeah.
And the approach that I actually have is slightly different from what I've been hearing here in this in this get together.
Yeah.
Actually, my colleague Fred and we partnered up some time ago, and we've been talking to a lot of schools all around the world. So in the Netherlands, in Denmark, in all the way up to Brazil. And actually, we approached it from a different point of view, like an environmental point of view. Like we need to collaborate more, we need to have better discussions, and we pitched it to all the schools. Like, hey, we are seeing an increasing gap between the lessons that are being given and the technology and the thought process that's going on in the world today.
Yeah.
And we think you should hop on board right now. And the question we always got was, well, what do you suggest? So we decided a while back to say, okay, we will write our own education, teaching teachers to use both AR and VR within their current class curriculum. They don't actually have to change anything, any goal that they are working towards in their daily classes. We are just giving them tools to open up new ways of discussing things, open up ways to learn things, being together or being apart, and really engaging them in, hey, this is what's on the market right now, but also how can you create your own content in the most simple way to get them started? Because it's always like you can't jump all the way into a Rolls Royce. You got to start somewhere, you got to take baby steps.
Yep.
And that's the way Fred and I have been approaching this for the last year and a half now. Last year we had a lot of education. We trained a lot of teachers.
Fantastic.
Benefit of exactly what we're doing right here and right now. So that's a bit of the journey that Fred and I have been crossing up until now. And I think it's really
thank
inspiring.
you for that. Thank you very much. I'm really excited to see how your approach has obviously gotten you good results. So thank you for sharing that with us. Can I ask what your organization is?
We are upon immersive teaching. You can find us. You can find our website. Or you can just send me a personal message on LinkedIn, Kees Veerman.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay.
And
thank you very much. Excellent. Thank you. Wonderful. All right. Well, we've run over time slightly. How much? 10 minutes. Not too bad. I get so carried away in here. I swear they have a different time rate of time in here. Chris, I wanted to send off with a bit of a 360 of the favorite of the Angel Falls. Which is always a nice one. Always a nice one. I was looking at that again today. Some of you may know it. I'm going to bring that location up. Here we go. I forgot to record this spatially again a bit as well. But we're going to go to a shared 360 experience. Lovely.
All right, Daniel, if you want to throw the 4K on the upper right on as well, that'll make it look a much
excellent, wonderful. Thank you for reminding me about that. Fantastic. Just to make sure everybody's here. And before we play the video, a couple of quick announcements. You're all invited May 7th and May 8th. Educators in VR is running the first Students in VR conference, where we have mentors who have been working with students for the students to plan and deliver the conference on, I think it's Thursday the 7th. It will be a day of events in Altspace. And Friday the 8th of May, we will spend a whole day here in Engage with the students, giving keynote speeches, interviewing people, giving short lectures. So please join that. And if you have students who might want to get involved, please reach out to us as well. And other than that, let's enjoy this send-off. We're going to just play this one now. Here we go. Hold tight. This is beautiful. is one of my favorite parts of Engage, is sharing 360.
Angel is located among the jungle of the Canaima, which has almost no road. Jungle of the Canaima National Park.
Hey Daniel, I noticed that it was a little bit jumpy.
Yeah.
Probably because we got it in 4K. Let's just turn
Right,
the
okay.
4K off and try that again. Here we
Yep,
go.
no problem. Thanks, Chris.
Angel is located among the jungle of the Canaima National Park, which has almost no roads. The closest civilized place is 600 kilometers away. The international name Angel is the Spanish pronunciation of the discoverer's name. The Piman Indians call it Querepacopaimero, meaning waterfall of the deepest place, or Paracupiavenia, as if falling from the highest point. The jungles around Ollantaytambo are the habitat for the jaguars, pumas, monkeys, giant anteaters, iguanas, parrots, colibris, and other members of the local fauna. The flora is represented by more than 300 species of plants, including endemic ones, existing only in this geographic region and nowhere else on the planet. Being 979 meters high, Angel is the biggest waterfall in the world. You won't be able to find a single undamaged tree on the top of the plateau due to constant lightings heated during thunders. The Angel waterfall in Venezuela was made by the Churón River, which literally falls over the edge of the Ollantaytambo Table Mountain.
All right.
Whoa! There we go.
I know.
Okay, so everybody's mic is on. There you go. All right. Last couple of minutes, I just wanted to let everybody have a chat if they wanted to do so. Thank you so much. That's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, that's getting a lot of feedback there. You got it, Steve?
Yep. Yeah, it was. I got Alejandro muted. We're good.
Lovely. Okay.
And Paul.
Yeah, so feel free to reach out on Discord, on Twitter, everywhere, and come back. I think in 2 weeks is the Students in VR, and I'm going to be doing events here in Engage every 2 weeks. I've been doing them every week. It was a bit too much for me, for my family and everything. So every 2 weeks, I'll be doing something in Engage and maybe some special events as well. I hope to see
Thursdays,
you.
please.
Yeah, Thursdays, David. Your weekend. Thursday's a good day for me. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Excellent.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.
Take
care.
Thank you, Chris.
Bye bye. Take care.
That's Red's